Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm here today with Rina Golan, and she's a good friend of mine and also mentor. And we are humbly here today, really with an intention to inspire and maybe touch the listeners and ourselves as well. These times of shifting times are so intense for so many of us that I felt called to speak with Rina today. Thank you, Rina, so much for joining me today. And I just wanted to tell you that Rina helped me a lot when I had a health crisis. Rina is, I don't know how to call her. For me, she's like a modern shaman. But she will introduce herself more. For me, just to be with Rina and listen to her is so much wisdom there. And also she's intriguing. She had so many adventures and learned from teachers in Africa, shamans in Africa, in South America, working with tribes, indigenous tribes, and many other things. So maybe in a few words, you can just introduce yourself and what you do.
Hello. So my journey started actually as a TV news producer, then a burnout, then the classic story of the wounded healer. I basically, my whole endocrine system collapsed and I had to go and find solutions for my well-being. And then it went to going to India and studying meditation and yoga and Ayurveda, and then looking for more spiritual answers. And so that took me to different teachers, which is what we call shamans. But it was really finding ways to deepen my relationship with my own nature as a woman and nature itself, and healing my relationship with nature, which is actually the definition of shamans. They deepening our intimacy with the natural world. That's kind of their role. So I've been using nutrition. I've been using movement. I've been a lot of yoga, a lot of dance. I dance Buto in nature, again, to deepening the relationship there, and meditation and different rituals to help us to stay connected with ourselves, others, and the natural world.
Yeah, and today Rina and I met and we were thinking, we had a plan of what we want to talk, but we felt I'm coming from being in the hospital with my beloved brother who is very sick, and Rina came from our own journey, and we thought, God, if we feel like that, so many people feel like so much is going on in these shifting times. So we wanted to bring, I wanted to ask you, what do you do and how do you pick up yourself, or how do you support yourself when things are so intense outside and also in our body?
Yeah. I think what we're going through is collectively, we all post-trauma for sure after COVID. And the opposite of trauma is safety, and how we're going back to safety within our bodies, and how we also grow and transform. I was thinking about it because transformation and change and growth involve discomfort. So that can come and feel in our nervous system as unsafe. So how are we growing and being okay with the discomfort of that, of a transformation, which can feel very shaky on the nervous system. And also how we're finding in these times that so much of what's happening in the world and our systems is not really conducive for our well-being and for our nervous system. So how we regulating our nervous system, but without staying stagnant and not growing. So there's kind of two things to that. And the breath, really it is that, many religions been telling us that it's about transcendent. In yoga, we talk about Shiva, sitting in silence and merging with the divine. All religions been talking about kind of not listening to the desires of the body, as if it's a sin, So we've been kind of conditioned to go against the body and listen to the mind or even the heart. But what about the body? You know, this is, for me, it's what anchor me back in the earth. And I think we are in the physical. Yes, we're spiritual being. Yes, we are walking divinity, but we are also limited to this realm in the physical world. And we have to make peace with that and find home within our own bodies. And we can talk about different practices. So the breath, movement, spending time in nature is very simple ones. What you're feeding your body, what you're feeding your thoughts, what kind of movies you're watching, what kind of music you're listening to, what kind of gossip you're allowing in. And all those things can really take us out of balance. And then when we're finding that, and when we knowing how to regulate ourselves and our nervous system, then also to kind of take baby step to while we're growing and we're feeling unsafe. So it's like, so we're not associating with this discomfort to the traumas we've been through or we are going through as a collective.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure. And, you know, I'm thinking about when I'm in touch with my body, there's so much knowledge and wisdom in the body. In a way, it's limited, but also we have intuition and we sense. And I used to live in nature. There was a time that I left everything. I was sick, and I left everything, and I lived in a tent in hot springs in California, and there were a few people there, and I felt like I'm starting to get in touch with parts of me that I wasn't aware of, like intuition. Like we all knew that a certain person is going to come that day. I said, I have a feeling that so-and-so is going to come today. And the other person, he said, I feel the same. And then we see the third person coming towards us. And so starting to listen to the body is so important for me. And one of the ways I do it, and we do it in our artist communities, painting, and also painting, not so much planning what we're going to do, but seeing what wants to come through us. Yeah. Because there's so much in us that we forgot. Yeah. So creativity, maybe it's not just painting, but creativity, the dance, the movement, how do we remember who we are?
Yeah. I think creativity have a really big part in this times of change. Joseph Campbell was saying, I don't know if you know Joseph Campbell, a mythologist, wonderful being. And one of the things he was saying is because we don't have any more the mythology, the preparing our psyche to change, to danger, to all those challenges we're going to go through as humans. So the mythology, the myth was helping us to get ready. You know, there will be wolves where there is innocent. There will be there is danger in life. We can't stay in that state of innocent all the time. I mean, maybe innocent is okay, but not naive, not naivety. So we don't have that now. I mean, we have mythologies, but it's mainly Disney. So it's not really helping in that way. So maybe what he was suggesting, that it will be the artists that will prepare our psyche to those times. And the way I feel the art can do it, it can really connect us to something greater than ourselves. We have to be in the moment. We have to allow something to take over, and that space can really help us, because the answers are not there. It's new times. We have no maps. This is what all the teachers been telling us. You know, as they say there is a curse in China that say, may you be born in interesting times. So we are living in interesting times. So we have no maps. We have no elders to guide us, maybe very little, very few around the world. And so we're going to have to live that, and we're going to have to find it. And the only way we're going to find it is through silence. It's through togetherness because, you know, Thich Nhat Hanh said that the next Buddha wouldn't be a person, it will be a community, it will be a city.
It's beautiful.
So we're going to have to create it together. We're going to have to create circles of exploration, of sitting in silence, of creating together, and really allowing ourselves to come from that place of not knowing, but with that prayer to find solutions for our own well-being and the well-being of others. And I think that is kind of the only direction that I kind of can think of and can find helpful at this time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we have a circle of women art sisters. We're going together for a few years, and people are still coming in. And you know, when I was walking with Rina and we were talking about maybe let's do a podcast together, at a certain point I said, why just a podcast? Why not collaborate? Why don't do a course together? And how can a painting course can combine with what you do? So I feel like for me, Rina is such a treasure. Like every word she says is like so beautiful, and you inspire me so much. And when I got sick, she told me, go out to nature every day, put your feet on the ground, put your hands on the ground, talk to Mother Earth, ask for help. And we had an exchange. She said, you go to nature, and from what is born from that experience, paint me a painting. So I couldn't move much. I was really so weak. I was just sitting on the couch and staring at the trees, and I started seeing faces in the trees, and there were like beings, starting to communicate with them, and I started a painting which I love so much. Thank you. And this inspired me to create a whole course, my Mother Earth course, where we connect to the earth, because there's so much medicine in doing that. We want to connect the art and your work, and do something that will bring healing and inspiration. And for people who don't even need to know how to paint, there is a way, I think, that everybody can connect with their creativity.
Yeah, we are part of the creation, and if we stop creating, it's the opposite of life, basically. You know, creativity means that we are still alive, but it also means there's need to be something that there is a surrender in creativity, and this is really the exploration of what we were interested to create. And this is something also for you in your life, in your daily life, when you speak to someone, when you're making dinner, when you tidying the house, when you're meeting a friend, when you're dancing, whatever you do could be a form of creativity, right? It's just being in the present moment. And for me, creativity, like art, I was always saying that art, the role of art is to uplift our spirit, is to inspire us, which means in the spirit. I teach people how to nourish themselves in body, mind, and spirit. And, you know, how to feed your soul, how to feed your body, how to feed your mind. And it's very important what you allowing yourself in. So I think in this time when there is a narrative of scarcity, of diseases, of division, you know, the world is a dangerous place. And I think it was Einstein that said the only difference between kind of people is how you perceive the world. You perceive it as a dangerous place or a safe place. That's sanity or madness. It's literally that. So the way we're taking our nervous system back into safety is we recognizing the safety in this life, and we could do it through art that nourishes us, through being in nature. Nature 90% of the time can be very nourishing, unless you go into a place where there's loads of tigers and crocodiles and maybe feel unsafe. But overall, nature is a place that can give us safety, stimulate all the 5 senses, which help us to develop the other senses. And yeah, taking care of ourselves. I think this is what we really wanted to talk, especially as we're speaking with women. We were just talking about that we really want to inspire you to take care of yourself, of your own body, and and express yourself through art, and be a bit selfish. I think it's a good thing.
I think what I want to do in my painting classes is remind us who we are. So what we could do is get in touch with this wild part, the animal body.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think it's interesting because most patriarchal philosophies, which started in the Abrahamic religions, they basically been talking about kind of that the nature is something to control, and that came with our own nature, with its own desires. And when you're looking at other more matriarchal cultures or philosophies, then the ideas was more about kind of actually embodying the spirit. Even if you look at voodoo, which we're so scared about this word, but actually it's just a bad reputation. What they did in Africa is, like they say, you need to go to the church or the temple to meet God. We meet God in our bodies. This is why they go into trance, right? So a lot of those cultures were really kind of focusing on the embodiment and on feeling it. Like you see a shaman and they will do in rituals, they'll put like different kind of furs or from the word feathers, and become an animal and evoke the spirit of an animal. And that was helping them to kind of receive particular information that was useful to enhance the well-being of the tribe or whoever they'd done the ritual for. So I think kind of learning to trust the body is how we're going to heal, especially as women. And I think the world will heal through women. Something that Dalai Lama actually said many years ago, that the Western world will be healed by the world will be healed by the Western women, because we have the choice. Our sisters in Africa and India and other places that more less free than us to make choices. We have not fully free. We are not fully equal in that way, but we definitely have more choices, and we can use our power to bring more healing in the world, in our communities. And this is actually what we did for thousands of years in communities. Women, their role in the community, as Subunfu Some, my teacher, used to say.
Can you repeat her name again?
Subunfu Some, the wife of Malidoma Some, that was also my mentor. She was saying that the role of the women in every tribe was to bring the community together. This is our role as women. This is why we like to host. We like to bring people together. We like to, and that's what we do, because men had to be in silence while they're hunting, and that was the way they connected, through silence, because you can't speak when you hunt. And so they had to spend months in silence, and we had to spend months chatting to keep the community together, to teach the kids to speak a language. So we need to voice ourselves. And this is one of our PowerPoint. And this is, I think, again, one reason why a lot of women, every third woman in the West, suffer from thyroid problems, is because we don't express and voice ourselves fully in this life. And I think this is why, maybe for some of us it will be singing and then dancing and then painting, but we have to express ourselves. We have to find ways to express who we are. Otherwise we're becoming very ill and we can't heal the world. But the beginning of the healing of the world, and kind of almost the end of it also, is in our bodies. It's how we're treating ourselves, is what we're doing to fully feel that we're expressing who we truly are. Again, the center of truth, throat, expressing our truth. And when we're fully living what we came to live, which is our Dharma, our truth, and it can be very humble. It doesn't need to be saving the Amazon. It could be saving my family, saving my relationships, expressing myself on a daily basis, and not betraying my values is really one of the most important and most effective ways to take care of our physical bodies, our mental bodies, and spiritual bodies.
Right. And I feel like if we are who we truly are, it's not that we have to even save anybody. Just by being that, there's so much inspiration, and just like you are sending out a frequency that is doing something. You don't need to do much.
No.
Just be. That's, I feel like, the most important thing.
It's about the balance of both. It's about being and doing. Because if we are never in the sympathetic nervous system, we don't do anything. We just lay down on the sofa and we don't do anything. And we came here to create. We're part of a creation. We came to create, but we need to rest. So there's nothing wrong about, doing or being. Is about really balancing both. It's like after a lot of doing, we want to rest. We want to soothe. And I don't know, it was me and you talked about, but I just had a vision a few weeks ago. Somebody asked me to write something, and I just suddenly I had a vision of a cow, and I was thinking about the suffering of taking the milk from cows and how they're getting pregnant again and again in an unnatural way so they can produce more milk, and I just felt like this is what's happening for us as women. We are being asked to constantly produce for this, because our value is measured by how much we produce in this kind of capitalist society. So we have to constantly produce, but we are, it's the same like the cow. We're constantly being asked to create and bring things into life. And we also need to rest. We also need to, like all animals do, enjoy life. You've been working hard in your life, and where is the moments where you stop to do things that nourish your soul, nourish your body, like art can do?
Well, thank you, Rina. I feel like there's so many things I can ask you, and there's so much knowledge that you have. But maybe it's good enough for now. Yeah. Thank you so much for all of this. So inspiring. Wow. Like we started I just came from the hospital with my brother, and I was feeling so down and exhausted, and just sitting with you now, I feel like so uplifted. So I want to do more things with you.
Me too. Yeah. And this is it, I think, and just to remember that as women, one more kind of thing to give you, that when we gather and we sit with other women, we release oxytocin. So it's orgasmic for us to spend time with other women, literally. So do that, it's being more around women, maybe in silence, maybe creating, maybe just nourishing each other, making nice food together. Really the medicine of this time is to slow down, to smell the flowers, to nourish on a deep level, and to take care of each other, to just keep an eye on each other. I think this is what we really need. Just call this friend that is more alone or more going through stuff, or your aging mother or your father, or just really going back to the basic is what will take us through this time. And I believe that the answers will come to us as we go along, with grace and with the prayer and intention to be a little beam of light, so a candle in the middle of this madness, which was the intention of this conversation today. So thank you for taking the time to listen to us.
Thank you so much, Rina. Thank you so much for listening all the way to this point. And yeah, I feel so honored that you agreed to do this with me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.